Alrighty then. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Alrighty. On to another build demo for the WoS JAG, whichever one you want to call it, Just a Game, World of Serenity, the MMO I'm working on. Today is June 9th, it is a Sunday, and we have a new build to show off. So shall we? So for those of you who are actually keeping track of the changes, this is an incremental build to be sure, but there are quite a bit of differences over the previous build video that I did that I'm quite proud of. For one, I've managed to get all of this that originally had various gray backgrounds and whatnot to go transparent, so that it actually looks like it's text that's been written onto this parchment, this document, this book. I've managed to make the same thing with the headers here. They're all transparent. Still got to figure out where this white stuff is coming from, but still, it's a good start. As you'll notice, races do not show up at all before you've picked your races, and of course, this system is still in place. But as you see, as you select a race, it shows up on the sidebar, and you can determine how much of the blood purity there is. For example, that's 13/16, so I guess the only other option would be 3/16. I'm not sure if I'll keep it like this, where it's all options available, because that allows you to switch things around pretty easily. Or have some type of a dynamic change based upon the ones above it. But you see, here's the key point. You have to make sure you hit a 1.0. And I'll tell you right up here. Obviously, when this is completely finished, there'll be a button down here that'll say go on to next screen, and it'll be unavailable if you have any value below or above 1.0. So you've got to hit that 1.0 marker. And I've done every permutation of a 16th, simplified them down to eighths, quarters, halves. But you can see here, you can get really detailed on your blood purity of your character. You can make someone who's 15/16 Hobgoblin and 1/16 Bellcat, for example. It's completely possible. As you can see, I've tweaked around with my temporary image here. This is obviously not a real image for the product when it'll be done. But it's just sitting here, it's no longer stretched, no longer got the white background. And of course, we still have this system in place. And as you look down here, I've only put in the values for Hobgoblin at the moment, but now your gender and your race will be reflected in your stats, because the base rolled stats this woman's creator was the strength of 13. So you'll see, if I strength of 13, and I set the gender to male, and the strength jumps to 21, because Hobgoblin at full blood, for my test, I set at 7 strength. If I were to remove Hobgoblin and tinker with the Bellcat, you would see it's down to just the standard base modifiers. So you can see there's that system. I think the next thing to obviously move on to then would be classes, which will allow you to set your classes. And then we will move on to, after you've set your classes and all that fun stuff, I'll start building in the advantages and disadvantages system. And once that is done, we'll move on to the next screen, which is gear, skills, and spells will be set in the next screen. I'm skipping the normal intermediary screen, which would be the customization screen, because at this point, there's no art assets to allow you to customize. So we'll just jump right into using we'll just jump into finishing up your character creation, which will involve creating, choosing your skill loadout, your spell loadout, gear loadout, and once you've selected all those, we'll jump right into the game, and you'll just have a basic junk avatar using some temporary image from the web. Then we'll move into the actual controls of the game, and we'll work on that system next. And we'll save, the actual character creation for Phase 2 when we get all the art assets done. But as you can see, you've got a nice, robust, working system for races. And as you can see, I've managed to put this inside of a scroll box. There's quite a few odd things in here, I've noticed. Like, for example, some odd reason these top 3 will not select. I'm sure I'll figure out the problem at some point in the future, but for now, whatever. Top 4, I'm sorry. No, that one works. It's these 3, for some odd reason, don't work. And I haven't figured out why that is. Everything else seems to work just fine. But we'll deal with that in the future. Not important at the moment. So that is today, June 9th build preview. Hope you all enjoyed the show. Again, for those of you who are just tuning in for the first time, we do this all in Java. Not JavaScript, Java.